This new Printify product is going to change the game because it has one of the highest profit margins out of any of their products. And it is these woven blankets. And I wish I could show you up front just how legit these look. And you'll be amazed because the quality that comes out on these versus what they're actually going to cost you is insane. I actually did a video on these before Printify even added them because that's how much I believed in this product. But even more so now that Printify offers it. So in today's video, we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to take a look at what types of designs sell on these blankets, how to sell them with Printify. We're going to make our own using AI, and we're going to research these beforehand so that after this video, you know how to create your own designs, sell them on woven blankets on Printify. If you come on into Etsy and you put in woven blanket into the Etsy search bar, you're going to find tons of these that have the bestseller tags, the popular now tags, the Etsy pick tags, and these are proof that these are selling well. And if you use a tool like Everbee, and if you want to give Everbee a go, I do have a link in the description for buy 2 months, get 1 month free. But using this tool, I'm going to take a look at the product analytics and I can see just how much these are selling a month. So we have one that's selling 164 times a month, 72 times a month, which isn't quite as much as apparel will sell, but the difference is in how much profit you can make per sale. If we take a look at this bestseller here, it is selling for 159 for the 37 by 52 and all the way up to 209 USD for the larger size of these. And I can see using the Everbee on-screen stats here that this is sold a total of 4,700 times and about 70 monthly sales. And on Printify, this is the exact product they're selling, the woven blanket. You can find this under early access. So it's not in their regular catalog yet, it is in the early access catalog. And scrolling down, we're going to go to provider info and just take a look at the prices. The 52 by 37 is $19.77. The next one is $27.18 and the largest size is $41.70. And remember, the best seller with these was selling them from $159 to $209. That is a massive difference between the value of what people are purchasing this for and how much you can pay to create it. And then the shipping costs for these really aren't that bad, from $9.99 to $15.99. I would bake some of that into your product price and then charge under $6 shipping on Etsy to make sure you're ranking high. But again, the difference between what they're selling for versus what you can pay to create and ship it is quite large. So while I'm going through some of the best sellers, I'm noticing a theme on what's doing well within these blankets. And a lot of them seem to be couples blankets. So things with people's names on them. We have the person's monograms. We have a custom letter from someone. So it seems that these are given as gifts quite a bunch, or maybe a way to celebrate an anniversary or your wedding or an important moment in your relationship. We have this really cute bestseller here, but personally, I would have spelled utterly with 2 T's, but whatever, it's a bestseller anyway. Utterly in love with the couple's names and a date. So this would be a great milestone one, or again, something for a milestone, but given as a gift. We have this one here, Till Death Do Us Part, is for quitters, and again, their names and a date. We have this one here, which is a mama hugging its cubs that says, "Love you lots, Mama Bear," with all of their kids' names. We have this one here, which says, "Until We Croak," again, with some customization and a date on here as well. So there are a bunch of other types that sell. Do your research, but one of the biggest trends that I'm seeing is kind of a pun, a love pun, mixed with a cute graphic and then some customization. So let's start finding some ways to make our very own variations of these. And lately, one of my favorite ways to find inspiration is by going to Pinterest. And I'm going to look up maybe like love puns, animal love puns. Let's look up animal love puns. And then we're gonna get a bunch of cute ones that maybe could go well on a blanket. Like, I really like this one, "I will always love you." We have like this one, "I love you like no otter." "What'll I do without you?" "I goat you, babe." So these are giving me so many ideas extremely quickly on things that I can put on these blankets to create my own. We have "We were made for each other." "Are you a beaver? 'Cause damn." "Utterly awesome. While you be my Valentine." But actually the first one that we saw, I think is my favorite, which is the I Will Always Love You. My current favorite way to make AI designs is using Midjourney, and with their new online version, before you had to use Discord, and I was so used to Discord that I had not actually used their online version, and I just started playing with it, and it's so much better, honestly. And you can find this by going to midjourney.com/imagine. I do pay for a subscription so that I can sell these commercially. But scrolling down, what you're gonna do is type in what you're looking for in the chat box here, and then you're just gonna turn on filters. And for our current image size, we do want a 3x4 for these blankets. So I just went and switched this, and then I would just change everything. If you want to change your weirdness, your stylization, I just kept the rest as standard. And then coming here, you're going to type in exactly what you're looking for. So you can see on the side, I've already run a few of these, and I'm trying a few different prompts. So I put in 2 cute whales swimming together on a blue background, cottagecore style. I did another cottagecore style. I tried a vintage style. I tried a watercolor style, just to keep playing with my prompt until I find something that I'm happy with. Another thing that you can do is if you have a style in mind, you can add a photo up here, and then you can use that with your prompt, and then it will use that for the stylization. So it's going to reference your photo. So if you have a vibe in mind, I highly recommend doing it that way. So here's some results I got with this. Here are some of the results I got with watercolor. And if there's an option that you like, say this one, you can vary subtle or very strong, and it's going to make different variations of this design, but stay close to the general vibe of it. So for example, let's do very subtle here. And what I love about this new version too is you can hit rerun. If you click on your prompt here, it's just going to add it back to the top so that you can edit it, so you don't have to keep retyping everything. If you want to reuse your photo, you just click on it and it's going to add it to a new prompt. So this new version of Midjourney is way more user-friendly. And here are those versions of that variation we had just created. So you can see there's slight variation between them because we only did very subtle. Honestly, I don't really see that much of a difference between photos much, just a slight one in the bottom whale here. Again, very subtle, we hit very subtle. So you can very strong if you want these to be a lot more different. Let's see what result that gives us. And there we go. Now we're gonna see we have different versions, 2 different whales, slightly closer together. Sometimes they're facing a different way. So we're still sticking to the main photo vibe, but maybe there's a piece of it we didn't like. We can just flip that up. But going through all the results that we got, there are a few that stuck out to me that personally I really like. I really love this one for the cottagecore vibe of it, which I think is what does really well on these blankets. But there are a few others that really stuck out to me. I like this one here. I love how cute this one is. I love this little cute one right here, or the 2 of the whales swimming together. So it's actually really hard for me to pick, and sometimes I don't pick. I make multiple versions with multiple different images to see what people like, because maybe some people like different styles more. So don't be too worried about picking them. Just make a few different variations. I'm huge on making variations, but I think for the sake of this tutorial, I think I'm gonna go with this one right here. I really like how cute it is, but I would probably use a bunch of these. It's really hard to tell. Once you are happy with the one you have selected, then you can just download the image up here using download image. You can upscale in here, but we're actually gonna upscale a little bit later, so don't worry about that. And now we're gonna come into Printify to grab the sizing for these blankets. And to do that, I need to make sure that all the sizes I want are on. So we have the 60 by 80 on, which is gonna be the biggest size that we need here. And you're gonna see the print area size is 7680 by 5760. So that's the largest version that we're gonna need. Personally, I've noticed that all the blankets that sell are actually orientated other way. They're more of a portrait mode. So I'm just gonna flip this a little bit later. So we're actually gonna create a 5760 by a 7680. And Canva, it's hard to do this because they don't allow file sizes this big. You can scale it down if you use Canva, and then when you save it, you're able to bring up the image quality and save it at higher. But if you feel more comfortable starting with a file size this big, you can do so using Kittl. So the reason I love Kittl is because you can create the version here that is a large enough file size. But the other reason I really like using Kittl is because the art sizes between all of the different blankets are not the same. So I'm actually gonna hit Option. I'm gonna drag over a new artboard here, and I'm going to resize this to the smaller blanket sizes. So now I have 3 different art sizes that are 3 different sizes, which match the exact dimensions of all 3 different blanket sizes. If you plan to sell all 3. And then you can just keep duplicating this file every time you want to make a different blanket design. But I've brought in my whales here, and before I duplicate them to all of these, let's just make it in the first one here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to image upscale this image just so it's a high enough quality so when it prints it doesn't look too bad. Honestly, with these blankets though, because they're woven, the details aren't going to be too detailed anyway, so I don't think this needs to be absolutely perfect. You're not going to see that much blur on it, but still it can't hurt to image upscale. And then you can just go ahead and add text, add a spot for customization, and show them an example of what it looks like. So I just put 2 names and the date so they know exactly what this is going to look like when printed, but they're going to have their names there. And now once you are content with your 3 sizes, you're going to download these, and I'm going to do a JPEG for these. You can also do PNG, honestly. Now coming back to Printify, I'm going to start with this 60 by 80, and you can see here I've uploaded my file. The orientation on Printify is not the way that I personally like it, so I'm just going to grab the little dot here at the top, and then you can drag it until it is right, and then you can tell it's right when it matches up with the file exactly. And I'm just going to scale this larger. And one thing you want to be checking to just make sure that you did this right is that you still see that this has high resolution. If you started with a file size too small, you're going to get a low resolution when you drag this up. So just make sure it says high resolution here. We've got the 60 by 80, which is right. And now we're going to go through the other sizes. So we have the 60 by 50. And one thing that you can do, it depends on the file that you created, is you can scale this upwards. One thing you need to make sure that you do is click on this, make a specific design for 60 by 80. Otherwise, this is going to change your file for the 60 by 80 as well. So you can scale this larger, but you can see with the design that we made, this doesn't really work. So that's when we delete this and we bring in the file that we had created from Kittl for this exact ratio. So now this fits a little bit better, the 60 by 50. So we're gonna go to the 52 by 37, and the 52 by 37 while scaling actually doesn't look too bad. So you can choose to keep it as this or do what we did for the 60-50, and again, click make a specific design, delete this, and upload the right design here. So again, you might not need to have all the different dimensions from Kittl if your design works when it is changed the ratio slightly, but for some of them you may need to. So I would just keep that Kittl file just in case. Then you have all of your sizes all together. And for this one, we didn't need it for the 52 by 37, but I still uploaded it. But for the 60 by 50, if we didn't do that, then it would have been cut off. So it is important that you go through all of the different sizes that you're going to offer and make sure that no matter which one your customer selects, that this is actually going to print and look how they expect. And now we're going to save this product, and then you can go down and change the pricing. You can change your shipping profile. You can change your title, your description, anything that you want to push to Etsy, or you can also change it in Etsy later. Don't worry about that. You can add your tags, and then once you are ready, then you can just publish right to Etsy. The problem is with Printify, and especially if this is using early access, you're not going to have any mockups. So how are you actually going to sell these without ordering a bunch of these? Well, we're gonna go create our own extremely realistic mockups right now together. So coming back into Etsy, you're gonna type in woven blanket mockup, and to make sure that you're actually getting the mockup and not an actual blanket, what you can do is just turn on filters, and we are looking for digital downloads here. So we're gonna hit show results, and now everything that appears here is a digital download that we can use. So you're gonna see ones like this. This is a bundle, which is fantastic. We have this one, the Jackyard Fringed Woven Blankets, and you're gonna notice that these are more expensive than apparel mockups, and it's because they are way more complex. People need to know major Photoshop skills to be able to make these, and I'll show you why. Here we go. It's by Createsy Official. They have tons of bundles. Again, they are more expensive, but this comes with a bunch of different files, and they are some of the most realistic. There are so many other ones on Etsy if you like those more, still extremely realistic. These are just the ones that I've kind of gone for. And you're going to download these. And the problem is you cannot make these using Canva or Kittl. You actually have to use Photoshop, but I'm going to show you quickly how to do that and how to do it for free, even if you don't have Photoshop. What you're gonna do is in your browser, you're going to look up photop.com and you're gonna get to this site here, which looks like Photoshop. It is a free Photoshop pretty much, and it is enough to cover what you need to create this file. After you download these files, you're gonna open up the .psd file, not the JPEG. And then what you're going to do is you are going to scroll down here and you're going to see design, and you're going to double click on design here. And then you're going to be brought into this open blank page and you're going to bring in your design file. And then you're going to hit Command Save, or you can also go to File, Save Smart Object. And now after you save this, once you go back into the file here, you're going to have this here, which looks like it has stitching. It even edits the colors a bit to make it look how it's actually going to print when this comes out in Thread. And now what we're gonna do is go to File, Export as JPEG. And now I have this realistic looking photo and multiple other files from that bundle that we bought that we can use for all of our marketing purposes for our design. And because these are actually thread, one thing you really have to keep in mind when creating designs for woven blankets is that it's not going to quite print as vibrant as you expect. The range of colors that can be woven with thread is not going to match what your computer screen is. So I would put a disclaimer in your descriptions that the design when printed may have a slightly different color. These files do help try to get a more original color to what this is going to look like, but they're also not perfect. So I would order samples for yourselves of photos of designs that you have created first, so you can get an idea of how these are going to look like when really printed. One thing I missed bringing up that I want to highlight is you don't need to offer your customers artwork or photo. They're not going to know the difference. You should select which finish your design is. So if this was a photograph, then you would select photo, versus we created a piece of artwork. So we're going to select artwork. It just changes the way that the technique is woven. I haven't really said exactly how, but if this is a photograph, select photo. Again, if we created it, use artwork. You don't need to have both of them on there. That's going to confuse customers. So just select which one is most accurate for whatever design you're printing. And I've seen these work, guys. When I first heard about these, they weren't even on Printify yet, but I really wanted to test if they would sell. I will say I created an extra Etsy store to test these out, but I got pretty lazy. I kept it, I maybe worked on it for like one full day and then like an hour or two throughout the next week. And I got 20 listings up, which is not a lot if you listen to me talk a lot. I suggest getting tons of listings out there. But with just 20 listings, I was able to get 3 sales, and I did not touch my store too much. I wasn't doing ads. I wasn't doing marketing. So I'm going to probably try to grow this in the future. I just always bite off too much more than I can chew because I'm doing this content, multiple stores. I just get excited by everything. Don't do what I do. But if this is something that matches your store, you haven't started a store and you want to offer something with a high profit margin, I would highly recommend giving these a go.